Spider-Man has had some of the most popular artists work on the character throughout the years. And when thinking about the absolute best, most cases, they made themselves these superstar artists through working with the character of Spider-Man. But what about already established superstar artists? Artists that everybody loves, that are popular, not working on the character of Spider-Man. Artists that fans could say would be a dream to have on Spider-Man. Well, to me, my current ongoing dream artist for the character of Spider-Man is the very popular Dan Mora. Mora's mainly worked on Boom, Image, and DC Comics, so he hasn't really got to touch the webhead officially much. However, lucky for us, he loves to draw the character, so we're gonna take a look at some of those examples. And as always, ask the question, can they Spider-Man? The series where I analyze artists that draw the famous webhead, and whether they've been drawing him for years or draw him for fun, I let you know whether or not I think they can Spider-Man. Now, as I briefly mentioned, Mora would mainly make a name for himself on the Boom and Image side of publishing, with titles like Hexed, Klaus, Power Rangers, Once and Future, and Buffy the Vampire Slayer. But he would really blow up when he would make his way to DC, starting on Detective Comics. Fans would instantly fall in love with Mora's style, as it made for some bright and fast-paced storytelling that resembles the dynamic feel of, say, a Jim Lee, as well as the sharp pencil work of a cartoonist like Norm Brayfogle. Mix in a little art pop and anime/manga inspiration, and you get one of the most popular artists in the current day in Dan Mora. Now, as I mentioned, Mora seems to be a huge fan of the webhead, as on his free time and his socials, he draws the character a lot, and I think he brings a familiar yet fresh look for the character. One of the best parts of Mora's art is his line work, giving sleek designs that shine with action/motion. It's clear that Mora knows the best ways to pose/move the character of Spider-Man. And when looking at Mora's body types, he actually has a really nice traditional build for his superheroes, and it meshes with Spider-Man very well. The more animated style also feels fun for the character. The contemporary look to the classic suit resembles other legendary Spidey artists while adding his own feel. And Mora is a versatile artist, so whether it be a traditional comic style, more cartoony, or even more digital in render, there's just a unique feel, and he's amazing at capturing different concepts. Like these pieces here where he draws the webhead in the style of Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield's live-action Spider-Mans. It completely captures the aesthetic of those versions and those iconic costumes, while still being in the realm of Mora's artwork. And on top of the great synergy that Mora seems to have with the character in a more traditional sense, one of my favorite things about Mora is his original concepts. He does this in general with so many different IPs and characters, and even when you look at his storytelling in books like, say, World's Finest, he's coming up with cool concepts for some of the most iconic characters of all time. There's examples of him just doing a spin of already iconic looks from other legendary artists, but his original designs, whether it be a new character or a new badass look for already established characters, Mora is just imaginative and brilliant. And when it comes to the webhead, he has great designs and ideas as well. He has these designs that are a bit more futuristic and kind of feel like a blend of Spider-Man with Power Rangers. And although I wouldn't want this as, say, a solidified look, I do think this being like one of Spider-Man's Mark armors used in one issue or one story arc would be absolutely fun. However, he does it for other Spider-Man cast members, like Miguel O'Hara's Spider-Man 2099, and obviously this look feels more akin to that version of Spider-Man, and just in general, his Spider-Man 2099 looks absolutely badass. I would definitely love to see a series with Mora on art for the character. But as I mentioned, he does this futuristic look with other characters, and I think a comic series set in the 2029 world involving the other Spider-Verse characters could be super intriguing, especially with Mora's visual storytelling. But that's not it, because Mora does have a more subtle original concept for the webhead, and to me, this is a look that I would love to see Spider-Man in for a while. The black and red feels like a nice homage to those early Ditko days, and I love how creative he gets with the spider logo. It also feels a bit like a tech suit with the shoulder padding and exposed web shooters, but it's still sleek enough that it feels accustomed to the character. It reminds me of when the Superior Spider-Man run was happening, and Doc Ock was adding slight advancements to the suit. And when you look at Mora's sort of interpretation of that kind of costume, it's an awesome concept, and I can totally see myself falling in love with it. So whether it's giving off a more traditional/classic look, paying homage to some live action movie costumes, or having his own original concepts, Mora is nailing the expressive and exciting vibe of the Spider-Man character because his art is also very much those two words. I think one of the biggest problems fans seem to have with more current Spider-Man comics is the constant flip-flop flip-flopping of Spider-Man artists. And while it is fun to see different artists take a stab at the webhead, I can understand the wanting of a consistent look for this bi-monthly comic. But that's the problem. This comic is bi-monthly, and that can be very hard for one consistent artist to stay on. But Mora is a workhorse to the definition. And although I do think the real solution is to stop doing bi-monthly, Mora can definitely deliver an amazing and consistent book. Mora is one of the most popular artists of the last few years, and that's for a reason. His explosive and bold artwork attracts readers and keeps them around. And although Spidey doesn't have a problem selling, I think Mora on Spider-Man could bring us back to the Todd McFarlane days where the title was breaking records. The more you look into it, at least for me, it just seems more and more clear that Dan Mora for Spider-Man is a perfect match. But what do you guys think of Dan Mora? What do you think of his Spider-Man? Would you love to see him work on Spider-Man? Who's your dream Spider-Man artist currently going right now? Let me know down below. Thanks so much for watching. Subscribe for more.